More old finds of our history and our people in these old mountains. Working the old log roads today, back in the middle of nowhere. Well, welcome, friends. It's been a long trip back in here, a mile walk back in these ridges. It's a beautiful day, but it's cloudy, a little bit of sun here and there. But man, is this the roughest country I believe I've ever been in my life. But first I get up here, I had to climb up on top of these rocky ridges. And man, it's rough up here. This is some rough country. And I've tried to find these old logging roads. Some of them look just like ditches, but they're so old and washed out over the years that they look like this. Some you can't even tell they was even a road. But these are old logging roads in these ridges. Some of them you can tell are well defined. Even old county roads. You just don't know in these old roads. Guys, before I get started, everybody asks me what do you use. I'm using an Equinox 600. Not an 800, but a 600. Because I don't plan on finding much gold. That's the reason I didn't get an 800. And what I'm using is a Garrett pointer, all-terrain. And yes, they're both waterproof. But you get up here finally on top, and we start out on these old ridges working this area. And I love to find them shotgun shells. How old a one can I find? So let's get started. There's a good target. 14 to 15. No iron. Now that sounds like a shotgun shell. We'll see. Right there it is, laying on top of the ground. And then just under the leaves. Let's see what that is. Oh, there you go. Winchester Ranger. That's an old one. But you wouldn't think it just laying under the leaves. About a half inch underground. But on top of these rocks, they could be over 100 years old. Easy. Good head on it, but it's about gone. Oh well, there you go. Moving on. There's a good clean 17/18 right there. I can't find it. We acquire a target. It's over here. Way over here. Finally got it up. There you go, shotgun shell. That was 6 inches deep, them roots. Well, there it is for the focus. That's a Remington UMC sure shot. I know that's an old one. That was 6 inches deep. All right. I'll clean up my mess and I'm moving on. There's a 16 to an 18 with a little iron in it. Right next to the logging road. About barely can recognize it. See what that is. Looks like it's something bigger. And it is. That looks like an old ox chute. Now you think it's a broke off horseshoe, but it's not. That's an old ox chute. How long has it been since they used ox? They probably used ox up here to log with. That's old. It's got to be. If there's a nothing down there. That was it. What makes me think it's ox is the way it looks. That's what they look like. And this is an old logging trail where they drug logs out 100 years ago. So that's probably what they used, an old oxen. And there you go. Clean up my mess. You never know what you find. I like these old logging roads. So there you go. Moving on. There's a good loud clean target. 13 to 14. Up here amongst these rocks. Well, I'm right on top of a rock or something. Now let's see what that is. Look at that. An axe. An old axe. I'd say probably back in the old logging days. Just under the ground on this rock. Big old axe. And you can tell that's been beat on right there. It's seen some work. An old axe. And that's heavy too. That thing's heavy. Trying to pack it a mile out of here. Well, anyway, there you go. You just never know what you find. An old axe. Okay. That's a nice find. All right. Moving on. That's a big target. About a 12 or 13. Well, crazy reading. Man, we're going to see. I ain't picked it up with this. I know there's something there. I dig down this hard clay. Yeah, if I can dig down in this hard clay. Well, I finally see it. Ah, good. Now that looks like a horseshoe broke off right there. See it? That don't look like an oxen. Cause see, it looks like it's broke off right there. So that looks like an old horseshoe. Back in this logging road, you just never know what you find. Ah, goodness, that one there was 10 inches deep. Clean my mess up here. Yeah, I'd say that's when they logged these woods. Every bit of 100 or so years ago. Probably late 1800s. All right, there you go. I'm moving on. $13 to $14, no iron. Now that acts like a shotgun shell, in my opinion, from my experience. We'll see. Right on the rock. And it is shotgun shell, baby. Let's see what that one is. Here's this one, Western Expert, 12 gauge. Laying on top of the rock in this dirt. Okay. You don't know how, no matter how the age is, they just laying on top of them rocks forever. All right, moving on. Guys, this place is so beautiful and so wild. Some of the roughest country I've ever been in. And I'd stood on this rock about 2 years ago, metal detecting, and it's a mile walk back in here. No side-by-sides, no four-wheelers, but legs only will reach this country. And I just love to stand down here and look over this big holler. Here's what it was, same picture, same spot in 2023. But there's so much storm damage that's happened in these woods since I've been here. But knowing what I know, it saddens me to stand here. This may be the last time that I'll ever get to stand on this old rock, looking over this vast holler. They're fixing to put a highway in here from I-40 to Pigeon Forge to connect it up to the Middle Creek Road on Veterans Boulevard at Dollywood. This will all be gone. A 4-lane highway is going in here, parallel with 66. This will become, progress is taking it away. So much history to be lost. But that's progress, ain't it? But anyway, guys, let's get back at it. Well, here this one is, if it'll focus. I've never seen this one before. A Western Record. Never seen that one before. I'll have to look that up. Well, there you go. Cleaning up and moving on. There's a 1716. Still in this log growth. Nail. Old nail. Oh well. You just never know. Them old nails read like they are something. Okay. 18 to 20. My guess, the bullet. Way over here. No, it's a shotgun shell, right off a high. There you go. Let's see what that one is. That's a Remington Express. The way it looks, it's got plastic green on it. That's what I've always used growing up, my younger days. I would guess, my guess is that's either 70s or 80s. And there you go. Cleaning up and moving on. And guys, I just can't say just how peaceful it is once you get back in this old rough country that's so remote. Wildlife's always been here. They're being pushed back to the brink of, they got many places to go in these old ridges. And I just love to listen to the turkey this time of year. I can hear them off in the distance. Ain't they so nice to hear? Well, here's today's finds, guys. I mean, I was in some rough country today. I ain't never been that rough a place, I don't think. But anyway, here's what I found in these old log woods. They've been logged. All these woods have been logged at one time or another. I reckon this one's been logged about 130, 140 years ago up in here in these ridges. And man, was it rough. And you could see the best find, an old axe here. The old dirt, it just rotted the handle away out of it. It's pretty rough shape, you can see. But it's been wore out too. See how it's been flattened on top? It's been used. It's got lost or broke off and they left it lay. And it's just laid there in time. Who knows how old that is? That's heavy too. That's, oh man. That's 5 or 6 or 7 pounds. That's a heavy one. But anyway, you find these over here, right here. This to me, I found it was a foot deep in that old logging road. And I cleaned the end of it off. It didn't look like it's broke. It looks like an ox horseshoes. They come in halves. They're not like a horseshoe where they're solid. They come in halves. And they used these old ox too. You see here an old picture, they used them for heavy use like an old bulldozer back in them days. They were slow and powerful. And they pulled them down these old ridges and out of these deep woods. Well, that's what I think that is. They come in different sizes too. Now this one looks like a horseshoe. Down in that logging road. It wasn't as deep as that ox, but it's deep. That looks like an old horseshoe. It looks like it's broke off. Probably an old mule, an old big workhorse, pulling them logs out years ago. Back 100 or so years ago when they logged this old country. And here I found all kinds of little bullets. I could find these all day long, these old nails. And when they're really old, they give a good signal because they got some weird metal in them. And these old ridges is crisscrossed with barbed wire fences over the years where they've changed hands and people's acquired land. And I don't know how a cattle or livestock would get in this ridge. It is so rough. They'd be laying in a sinkhole or leg broke over a rock. It's the roughest country I ever seen. And I found a lot of bullets. I find them all the time. It's hunting over the years. Don't know how old they are. Messed up. I don't even show most of these little things just to save time. I record every one of them. Here's old pieces of lead. That looks like a 22. That looks like an old 22. Old pieces of lead. That's how sensitive that Equinox metal detector I use is. Here I found this on top of an old walkie ridge. I could tell by the reading, 22 hull. In the rocks. See, it has no markings whatsoever. So I don't know how old that is. They made these for a long time. Could be 50 years old, could be 150 years old. I don't know. But there you go on that. And the shotgun shells, I could just find them every time I go out. That's how people fed their families back in them days in these rough country. Here's a Remington UMC. That's Remington when they merged with U.S. United Metal Cartridge back in the old days. I think this is like 1915 to 1925. That's an old one. But they got good metal in them. This one here's not that old. I always like to use these. They made these back in about 1960 up to about 90. Remington Express high brass. I like using these. A good shotgun with these, you could knock them down the tallest squirrel, the tallest tree they are. You could knock a squirrel out of them. That's why I liked them. So that ain't that old. That might be 40, 50 years old. Here's one, Winchester, Ranger. It says USA made in it, so they made these from 1925 to 1972. But the latter half of it, they put made in USA on it. So this was probably back in the, I don't know, 40s, 50s, 60s. That's probably when this was made. I can't tell. But you can date these old shotgun shells. And here's another old Western Expert. You see the date on that. It's old. Old shells. But it's on the lighter end of it because it's made in USA stamped on it. Now here's the oldest one I found today. I'd never seen one of these. I had to look this up. This is Western Cartridge Company. Before Winchester merged and took them over later on down the road. This is a Record 12 gauge. And I had to look this up. I'd never seen this. I reckon this was made in 1914 and they stopped making them in 1925. So that's an old one. And guys, I'm just glad to get back in these old ridges. You can see the picture here I showed earlier in the video where I'd been in the same place 2 years ago. And man, I tell you one thing, I'm not the man I used to be walking in these ridges. I can tell the difference, especially since this leg operation. But I thank the good Lord for giving me the opportunity to get back in there. So guys, I hope you enjoy these little videos. These take some walking. I walked a mile back in there to that. And I had to take my time. It was a long walk. But I enjoy doing it. And I enjoy showing it to you too. So, it's been a beautiful day. We're fixing to get some rain. So I hope you enjoyed. So I want to say God bless, take care, and I'll see you next time.